Today, we're going to talk about 5 ways to handle people who disrespect you. I'm sure you've encountered those who constantly interrupt you, make rude comments, or act as if your time and feelings don't matter, right? That feeling is truly frustrating. But here's the problem. You have to tolerate it. So, how do you deal with disrespectful people without losing your inner peace? The answer lies in the strategies I'm about to share. How do I know these strategies work? Because I've applied them myself, and they've changed the way I handle disrespect. These aren't just empty pieces of advice. These are real, effective methods. If you apply them, I promise you'll feel the difference right away. Number 1, the silent gaze. There's a technique that I really love, and I believe you will love it as soon as you understand its power. It's called the silent stare. You might think, really? Just staring. But don't underestimate a look. When someone is rude or disrespectful to you, one of the most powerful responses is a silent stare. A long, calm, and completely unwavering gaze. Why is that? The silent stare is powerful because it replaces all the words, reactions, or actions you might do in response to disrespect. Disrespectful people want you to react. They want to see you flustered, or worse, angry with them. They want to pull you into an argument, to make you a part of the negativity they're spreading. However, when you simply look at them, say nothing, and show no emotion, the power shifts immediately. Don't think of the silent stare as passive. It's not about sitting still and letting others do whatever they want. On the contrary, the silent stare is how you take back control in any situation without doing anything. There's something very special about not reacting the way others expect. When you hold a silent stare, you're saying without words, I'm not participating in this. And with that stare, you assert that you're not a puppet in their hands. You're reclaiming respect for yourself without needing to offer any explanation or justification. The silent stare is not just passive. One of the things I've learned is that the silent stare is not about passivity. When you say nothing, when you simply look at them without reacting, you are not weak. In fact, this is an act of great power, a very clear way of saying no. That silence is like a warning. The disrespectful person will realize that you are not someone they can manipulate, mock, or disrespect. Think about how they must feel when they get no reaction from you. It's incredibly uncomfortable, isn't it? The silent stare can leave people at a loss, unable to continue the conversation the way they wanted. Some will feel confused. Others will begin to feel frozen. They'll wonder why you're not reacting. And right at that moment, the power has shifted. The silent stare, no words, yet full of power. You might think that saying nothing doesn't help at all, but the truth is the exact opposite. The silent stare is not just about not reacting. It's a way for you to assert your self-respect and control without needing words. You don't have to engage in someone else's negative games. You don't need to explain your choices. All you need to do is stand firm, remain silent, and let your gaze speak for itself. The silent stare is the strongest no. If you feel disrespected, the silent stare is the best way to protect yourself. With just one look, you send the message. I don't need to explain myself, and I don't need to participate in your negativity. Many people think that when we're insulted, we must respond immediately. But in reality, this silence is the most powerful response you can give. It's not passivity, but assertiveness, a way to take back control. A story about the silent stare. I remember once being in a team meeting, and there was a guy who kept interrupting me as if he wanted to do it on purpose. Do you know the type? He spoke loudly, overly confident, and seemed to think that everyone was just there to listen to him. At first, I tried to jump in, try to be polite, but he kept going. Every time I tried to speak, he'd cut me off, and I felt like I couldn't say anything anymore. Finally, I decided I would just look at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and stared directly into his eyes. No blinking, no expression. I just looked at him for 5 seconds, without saying a word. The tension in the room was palpable. It felt like the air froze. I could feel the shift in the way people around us were looking at him. They started looking at him, wondering what he would do next. And do you know what happened? He started to feel uncomfortable. He stuttered and didn't dare look me in the eye anymore. From then on, he didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than any words could have. And more importantly, after the meeting, he began to treat me with more respect. Why is the silent stare so powerful? What makes the silent stare so powerful is that it not only makes others retreat, but it also helps you strengthen your own self-respect. When you maintain that stare, you show that their actions cannot shake you. You are strong enough to stand firm without needing to react. The silent stare is not just a diplomatic gesture. It is how you confront disrespect and refuse to let it affect you. You don't have to do anything other than hold your ground. The silent stare, taking back control. In reality, disrespectful people rarely face the consequences of their actions. They make insulting remarks without considering others' feelings. But when you don't react, you show them that they must face their own actions. Your gaze is like a mirror, reflecting their attitude and behavior back at them. And in this way, you don't need to say a word. Your silent stare is the way to respect yourself. The most important thing is that when you maintain the silent stare, you're not only protecting yourself, but also showing that you respect yourself. You value yourself enough not to engage in others' disrespectful games. And that's something you must hold on to. So, how do you apply the silent stare? The silent stare isn't always easy, especially when you feel insulted or when you feel someone is trying to belittle you. But if you try it, you'll notice the difference. You don't need to say anything. You just need to look at them with a gaze full of self-respect, and you'll see that you've taken back control without doing anything at all. The silent stare is power. A silent stare can make others uncomfortable, and this is not passivity. It is strength without the need for words. And that very stare is how you assert yourself in a world full of challenges and disrespect. So, the next time someone disrespects you, don't rush to react or justify yourself. Try applying the silent stare, and you'll feel the power of your own presence. Number 2, accepting silence as an answer. This is an extremely powerful secret weapon, yet it is often overlooked. You might be wondering, silence? How can just looking without saying anything be so powerful? Don't underestimate it. Silence is the strongest answer you can give when someone disrespects you. Why is that? When someone deliberately insults you, their goal isn't just to annoy you. It's to make you react, to make you feel small or weak. They want to drag you into an argument, to make you defend yourself or explain your actions. But silence forces them to face their own behavior. When you don't respond, not only are you maintaining control, but you also leave them confused, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, they can't get anything from you anymore. That's why this technique is so effective. People who lack respect often want confrontation, an argument. They hope you'll retaliate because that gives them a sense of control over the situation. But silence is how you regain control without saying a word. I understand this feeling. Surely, you've encountered people who like to make jabs disguised as jokes. They think they're lightening the mood, but in reality, it's a sneaky way to insult others without taking responsibility. One time, I encountered a person like this. He kept poking at my work, clearly trying to cause trouble. Normally, I would have explained myself or even fired back at him, but this time, I chose silence. I simply looked him in the eye, saying nothing. I raised an eyebrow and continued to remain silent. His words hung in the air like a shadow he couldn't escape. And you know what? After a moment, he got flustered, looked down, mumbled something, and walked away. My silence made him back off. This is the power of silence. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I don't care about your negativity, and I don't need to prove my worth to you. Silence not only protects you from disrespect, but it also allows you to regain peace of mind. And that is truly powerful. You don't have to respond or justify every criticism. When you accept silence, you're protecting your own energy. You're not allowing others' negativity to invade your mind, and you're not letting anyone drag you into their games. Let me be honest with you for a moment. In the past, I was the type of person who always tried to explain myself to those who disrespected me. I thought that if I didn't defend myself, I'd seem weak. But then I realized something. Every time I explained myself, I felt drained and frustrated. The more I explained, the more exhausted I became. But when I chose silence, I noticed I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. I no longer felt pulled into their games. Silence helped me regain some of my power, making me feel more confident in myself. So what's my challenge to you? Next time someone disrespects you, don't rush to respond. Pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say nothing. Let silence speak for you. You'll be surprised by the power silence can create. When you choose not to react, you're not only preserving peace in your soul, but you're also making others reconsider their behavior. Accept silence as an answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement you can make. That is the power of silence, and that's how you stand firm in yourself without needing to explain or justify every decision you make. Try it. You'll find that silence doesn't just help protect you. It also helps you become the one who controls your own life. Number 3, stop explaining your choices. All right, this part will be very familiar to many of us. Stop explaining your choices. How many times have you made a decision only to be immediately questioned by someone? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why did you take that job? People seem to think they have the right to ask, to know, to explain everything we do. But the truth is, they don't have that right. Your decisions are yours, and you owe no one an explanation for how you live your life. This might sound controversial, but let's face the facts. If someone is questioning your decision, they don't intend to understand you. They just want to judge. They're looking for flaws in your decision, trying to make you doubt yourself or feel better about their own choices. But you know what? You don't have to play that game. When you stop explaining yourself, you take back your autonomy. You're telling them, my life is not up for debate. We all know that sometimes others feel entitled to ask for explanations, but the truth is they don't have that right. So why do they feel entitled to demand an explanation? Often, when others question your decisions, it's because your choice challenges their views. Maybe you're taking a risk that they're afraid of, or maybe you're stepping outside of a mold they feel comfortable in. Your independence, your willingness to do things differently, might make them uncomfortable, and they want to pull you back into their safe mold. But here's the important thing. Just because they feel uncomfortable doesn't mean you're responsible for reassuring them. Your life is not a public announcement, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for your decisions. I remember when I decided to change careers from a stable, secure job to one that I was truly passionate about. And of course, that decision came with a lot of risks. The moment people found out, it felt like I had just announced I was moving to Mars. I was constantly asked why I was leaving a stable job and how I could possibly do that. At first, I tried to explain, talking about how I wanted a more meaningful job, about my plans, but I quickly realized that no matter what I said, it was never enough. The more I explained, the more they questioned me, trying to make me feel like I needed to prove myself. Then one day, I decided to try a new approach. When someone asked, "Why did you leave that job?" I simply answered, "Because I wanted to." No more details, no explaining my strategy. Just a simple answer, and it felt so good. The silence after my answer was truly priceless. People didn't know how to react because I had taken away their power to question my choices. And you know what? Eventually they stopped asking. This is the true beauty of not explaining yourself. It brings freedom. It's about standing firm in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are enough simply because you made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you allow yourself to live authentically. You stop bearing the pressure of others' expectations. You stop wasting energy on explanations. Instead, you start living the life you desire. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need approval from an audience. Not every decision requires analysis or others' approval. When you stop explaining yourself, you're telling people, I'm confident in my choices, and I don't need your approval. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone who was truly confident feel the need to explain their decisions to others? Probably never, right? People who are in control of their lives don't need recognition from the outside. They know the only approval that matters is their own. In the past, I would explain why I made certain choices just to get others to agree. But then I realized something. The more I explained, the more I started doubting my own choices. So I decided to do things differently. When someone asked me, I simply said, because I want to. No further details, no explanations. And you know what? It felt amazing. People didn't know how to respond. I had taken away their power to question my choices. And eventually they stopped asking. This is the beauty of not explaining yourself. It brings freedom. It's about standing firm in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are enough simply because you made them. So, what's my challenge to you? Next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Simply say, because I want to, or it feels right to me. Then let the silence speak. Watch how powerful that simple statement can be. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and at peace with yourself. The best part is you'll realize your choices don't need anyone else's approval. They're valuable simply because you made them. That is true freedom. And this might make you wonder, why should I need approval from others? You don't need anyone's permission to live the life you want. This world isn't here for you to conform to. It's here for you to freely make your own decisions. So, stop wasting time explaining yourself to people who don't truly care about you. They don't understand your choices. That's okay. What matters is that you understand and you made your decision. This will change you. When you stop explaining every decision you make, you'll notice a powerful shift in how you perceive yourself. You no longer have to struggle to please others. You'll feel freedom because you're no longer living the life others want you to live. And you know what? The power of not explaining yourself isn't just about staying silent. It's how you assert your own power. When you don't feel the need to explain, you're standing firm in your own truth and feeling confident in the choices you've made. This doesn't mean you ignore advice or the opinions of others. But when you know exactly what you're doing, you don't need to change just because of questions or challenges. Explaining or justifying every decision only wears you out and makes you doubt yourself. When you stop doing that, you'll experience a relief you've never felt before. So, don't be afraid to refuse to explain. Don't let others drag you into arguments that you don't need to be part of. You don't need to prove anything to anyone because the decisions you've made are already enough. In the end, your life is yours to live. Live with faith in your own choices and never feel like you need to explain them to anyone. Because when you stand firm in your decisions, you've already claimed real power and freedom. Number 4, keep your distance. Let's face the truth. Sometimes, the best way to deal with people who don't respect you is to keep your distance. I know it might sound cold, even a little harsh, but here's the tough truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And if someone constantly disrespects you, one of the healthiest things you can do is give yourself some space from them. This doesn't mean you hate them or you're being dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being rude or ignoring others. It's about choosing how you will spend your time and energy. Imagine your life as an exclusive club where not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone continually crosses your boundaries, makes you feel small, or just radiates negative energy, why should you keep them close? Taking a step back is not only natural, but actually crucial. Distance gives you clarity to see things for what they truly are, without being clouded by emotional manipulation or guilt. Think about it. When you keep people who don't respect you close, it's like inviting them to a buffet of your emotional and mental energy. They can criticize and judge freely, and then you wonder why you feel drained, anxious, or frustrated. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-protection. It's about protecting your mental health, maintaining your peace. It creates space for people who truly respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt for distancing yourself from these people can be liberating. You are not obligated to keep people who don't respect you in your life. Let me tell you a story. I once had a friend who always found ways to criticize every decision I made. My job, my relationships, even my music taste. At first, I thought maybe it was just their personality, maybe I was overreacting. So I kept them around, trying to overlook it, thinking it wasn't that important. But over time, those criticisms started to wear me down. I realized I was constantly on guard, always mentally preparing for the next criticism, for jokes that felt more like punches. One day, I decided to try a different approach. I didn't make a scene or call them out. I just started limiting the time I spent with them. Instead of meeting them every week, I started seeing them once a month. And you know what? I felt relieved. I felt freer. And in that space, I realized just how toxic that friendship had become. Keeping my distance gave me the clarity to see that I deserved friends who uplifted me, not brought me down. Sometimes, distance is necessary to help you see things clearly. Here's what you need to understand. Some people will tell you that keeping your distance is selfish. They'll say, but it's family, or they've been your friend for so long. Admitting that someone you've known isn't good for you might feel uncomfortable, even a little taboo. Society teaches us to be loyal, to forgive, and to be kind. But at what cost? Here's a secret. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or a source of validation for them. Sometimes, the best way to show that you've had enough is to simply step back. Here's the key point. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't need to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, time, or emotions. When you create distance between yourself and those who don't respect you, you're signaling that your mental health comes first. And this isn't just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also gives you the opportunity to refocus on the relationships that truly matter, the people who genuinely support and uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend with people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you'll feel. The less time you give to people who bring you down, the less power they'll have over your thoughts, your moods, and your life. In the past, I felt guilty for keeping my distance from people, even when they treated me poorly. I thought, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm overreacting. But over time, I learned that keeping my distance wasn't just about cutting out negativity. It was about creating space for growth. When I started allowing myself to distance from those who didn't respect me, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of the people I wanted in my life. So here's the challenge I have for you. Think about the people in your life who continuously disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Then ask yourself, do they really deserve access to me like this? Start setting boundaries for yourself. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's how you become the best version of yourself. When you respect yourself enough to create distance, you'll have the strength to welcome healthy, positive relationships into your life. Now, there's a classic piece of advice that's always valuable. Keep your head held high. You might think, really? This advice sounds too cliche. But trust me, when you're dealing with disrespectful people, it's actually gold. When someone disrespects you, they want you to feel small. They want you to lower your head, shrink away. But when you stand tall with your head held high, you don't even have to say a word. That posture speaks volumes. I know who I am, and nothing you say or do can make me feel any less. What's powerful here is your confidence. Your confidence will make them uncomfortable. Why? Because they believe their words can control you. They want you to feel heard, to retreat. But when you refuse to let them diminish you, when you keep your head held high, you're showing them that their power has no effect on you. You can't be broken, and they won't know what to do with that. They'll start wondering, is my power still working? There was a time when I had to deal with someone who always found ways to mock me. The type of person who smirks and throws out jokes that feel like a stab in the back. At first, I tried to ignore it, but I soon realized those words still had an effect on me. I'd feel anxious every time I saw them, always thinking I had to defend myself. But then I decided to stop. I refused to feel small. I walked in with my back straight, head held high. Every time they poked at me, I simply looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on. And you know what? They started backing off. Their words no longer had any power over me. Their power just evaporated. There's something incredibly powerful about keeping your head held high. It's like an invisible shield that protects you, saying, I am untouchable. And here's the interesting part. People who disrespect you hate seeing you confident because it disrupts their world. They want to think they're above you. But when you walk confidently, their whole narrative crumbles. For them, it's almost an offense. They don't know what to do with someone who confidently walks without apology. They don't know how to handle someone who refuses to let negativity define them. And you know what? Keeping your head held high isn't for them, it's for you. You live as if you know your worth, without needing to prove anything. That's self-respect, and that might feel like an act of revolution. Think about it. When you stand tall with your head held high, you're not only protecting yourself, but also affirming your own worth. It's how you declare that you will not accept disrespect. Every confident step you take, every steady gaze, is a reminder to those who disrespect you. This is who I am, and you have no right to make me feel small. Remember this. Confidence is the most powerful weapon you have. Not words, not actions, but the unwavering strength within yourself. And when you understand and feel your own worth, you'll realize that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. What matters is that you know yourself and respect yourself. And sometimes, when you keep your head held high, you're not just showing your confidence, but also affirming your power in your own life. This may seem simple, but it carries tremendous strength. You're declaring that you know who you are, you value yourself, and no one has the right to make you feel inferior. Respect starts with you, and when you keep your head held high, you're affirming your worth to the world. You know, there's no need to over-explain yourself. When you stand tall, keep your head held high, you don't have to explain to anyone why you do what you do. What you need to do is live with confidence in yourself and not let others' disrespect affect you. Those who disrespect you will always have judgments, but maintaining your posture, walking with confidence is the strongest rebuttal you can give. So what happens when you keep your head held high? The change begins with you. When you maintain confidence and don't react to negativity, you gradually create a space for yourself. You're no longer a target of others' words. You don't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. Remember, holding your head high isn't just something you do physically. It's also a mental declaration. Walk into every room with the attitude that you belong there, that you deserve to stand firm in any situation. When someone criticizes or mocks you, just let them. They don't truly see you. They're merely reflecting their own insecurities onto you. So why let that affect you? Here's the challenge I have for you. Next time someone disrespects you, don't react. Take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, and keep your head held high. Look them straight in the eyes as if to say, I see you, but I rise above this. You'll feel a confidence like never before, a peace because you know their words have no power over you. Holding your head high isn't just a proper posture. It's a powerful declaration of self-respect. I know who I am, I value myself, and nothing you say can change that. Yes, ultimately, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less you'll have to worry about others' disrespect. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember that you deserve all that confidence. This is how you face those who don't understand you and might never understand you. Life is too short to spend time trying to please those who don't recognize your worth. Remember, you don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, protect your peace, and live your life on your own terms. Others will always try to pull you down, challenge your boundaries, question your choices. That's what this world brings. But the important thing is that you have the power to decide which energy you allow in, and you have the right to set the standard for how others treat you. The great thing is, when you focus on self-respect, you'll attract those who truly see your value. Those who lift you up instead of pulling you down. It all starts with you. Own your power and let everything else fall into place. So, keep your head held high, embrace silence when necessary, and never apologize for stepping away from what doesn't serve you. Because you deserve a life full of respect, starting with yourself. So, we've walked through ways to deal with those who disrespect you, haven't we? Life is full of challenges, especially when it comes to dealing with people who disrespect you. But remember, you have the right to decide how you are treated. Keep your head held high, stay silent when needed, and never apologize for choosing yourself. Remember, everyone has their own power, and the greatest respect you can receive is from yourself. When you respect yourself, when you don't let others' words or actions affect you, you'll begin to attract the people who truly deserve you. Keep moving forward. Don't be afraid to leave those who don't respect you behind. This life is yours, and you have the power to decide where it goes. So, don't let anyone or anything make you bow your head. Keep your head held high, maintain your self-respect, and walk with confidence. Thank you for staying with me through this video. If you found value in these shares, don't forget to click subscribe and share this video with those who matter to you. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue to explore more lessons and ways to live stronger and more confidently every day. Always remember, you deserve a wonderful life.